with me to 1 Corinthians, the 8th chapter. So what we're doing right now is we hope to give you an understanding of the difference between knowledge and truth, and how the Most High sees those things, and how vital it is for us in our lives to be based on truth, not knowledge. That's the reason why I read you that picture that my brother sent me last week, because the truth of the matter is that we was a great people when we was resting in Africa, when the Most High sent us from Israel into Africa to hide out from the dragon, according to Revelation 12 chapter. So we was over there, we was living a moral standard, we were still practicing the laws and the statutes and the commandments. We had great Israelite nations, and if you go back and look in week 5, we put that information in there. All the Israelite nations that was in Africa, you never heard those, never made the social study book, did it? Okay, you never seen the movies about those nations. The only thing you see is the only thing they make is give you the movie about Africa is Shaka Zulu. Him out there killing a bunch of people, knowing that. They'll tell you that part. And those guys are Hamites. They weren't Israelites, by the way. Just to put that out there. They never tell you the great Israelite nations there. They never tell you how the education system. I'm going to tell you a good book to read. Go get the book From Babylon to Timbuktu. Look that up. Google that book. Go read that book. And it'll tell you all the great Israelite civilizations of West Africa. So because we didn't know that, and we only base it on knowledge that they told us in the social study books, knowledge that they tell us on the History Channel, knowledge that they tell us on the documentaries, now we have a false sense of who we are. But if we had the truth of who we are, if we knew that every king, that every leader that's in Ethiopia from the time of Solomon up into the 70s to connect themselves back to the David, if you knew that all of our people in Africa and West Africa and Central and South Africa were great warriors and great kingdoms, that the people of Europe came down there because they didn't have anything else. If you knew our people was ruling Europe doing what they call the Dark Ages, if you knew that King James really wasn't a white guy that was a homosexual, but he really was a black Israelite, that would change everything. But because you don't know these things, and we have knowledge, knowledge could be true or it could be a lie. But the truth is always the truth. And in John 8:32, he said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Because what it means to be black and what it means to be African American is not what the Most High says in here. But if you knew the truth of the matter, that he was an Israelite, and you knew the truth that it says in Zechariah 12:7, that the tents of Judah must raise first, then you wouldn't be out there talking about some Black Lives Matter. You would know that the Most High said the Israelites already matter. Today's lesson, knowledge versus truth. 1 Corinthians, the 8th chapter, verse 1 through 3. Give us verse 1 there.
Now, as touching things offered unto idols, we know that we all have knowledge. Knowledge puffeth up, but charity edifieth.
Okay, so Paul is saying right here, look, we all got knowledge, right? We all have some form of understanding. We all have information. But he says, knowledge puffeth up, but love, charity means love, edifies. So what we're saying here right now is, you can have you ever know that the most people that have a lot of information, they have a lot of education and degrees, they're really arrogant? They're very arrogant because now they puff it up, so they love to be in debates. These Egyptologists and these conscious movement cats, they love to see run across these Christians who don't know the Bible. They love it. They love it. So they can come in and they can say something that they ain't heard in the church and make the so-called church Christians look bad because they don't know these things, and then they go back and start questioning everything. They love it. These atheists, they love it. They love getting in debates with people because the atheist, so-called atheist, is really nothing but a Satanist. Okay, don't buy that whole thing that he don't believe in God, because Romans 1 tells us that the Most High has revealed the Godhead to all men. So don't buy into the atheist stuff. These guys are Satanists. Okay, that's what they do. They believe in Satan. Okay, so they go and read the Bible just to get in discussions, and they drop something on people, and so they don't know it. So knowledge, Paul said, knowledge puffs us up. See, when you know a lot of stuff, Some people that when they know it and they ain't walking in love, they love to get into places, go around people who don't know stuff. So they can just come in and seem like they're the smartest guy in the room. Right? But he says, knowledge puffers up, but love edifies. So what we're telling you here today is, yes, we want you to know the difference between knowledge and truth. But you have to understand that the truth of the matter is that we still have to walk in love. So having knowledge that you're not black and having knowledge that you're not African American, but knowing that you're an Israelite, don't let that puff you up. So when you go on out and criticizing and ridicule people who are still in the church, or still practicing pagan things, because they don't know. Because there was once a time that you didn't know. Right? So don't get in this attack mode when you're calling out pastors and putting their name on Facebook and social media and going and criticizing your own family members because you have something that Most High gave you. He said, knowledge puffeth up, but love does what?
Edify.
Love edifies. So when you have the truth, you don't have it to crush people. You don't have it to tear people down. You don't have it to start attacking Gentiles and start going out and going and standing in front of some places where you know a bunch of white people at and start criticizing. No, you be light and salt. Because there is a remnant from Edom that's going to come. There's a remnant from every Gentile nation that will come. The Most High tells us in Matthew 12 and 30 that either you're gathering with them or you scatter them. So don't let the knowledge that you have, the knowledge that the truth that the Most High has given you, make you walk around and become arrogant and prideful, right? Everybody always likes to say that homosexuality is an abomination to the Most High. But they don't never tell you what it says in Proverbs 6. And it says pride is also an abomination to God. They never say that. It's funny how they mix that out on that, right? If you're going to criticize one, criticize all. Right? Verse 2.
And if any man think that he knoweth anything, he knows nothing.
He knows nothing. Okay.
Yet as he ought to know.
So Paul's saying that if you think you got this thing figured out, that's already saying right there you don't know nothing. Right? If you think you gathered all this information on your own and the Holy Spirit ain't doing it, you don't know nothing. If you think that you done got this awakening that you're an Israelite, and you think you did this on your own, I love it when I hear people sit around and they testimony and say, and when I found the Lord, no you didn't, because the Lord ain't never been lost, you were. Right? None of us found the Lord. The Lord found us. We were lost. We were distraught. We were hopeless. Okay? So I love when I hear people say, I made up in my mind that I was going to get my life together. No, you didn't. The Holy Spirit drawed you. Because Christ said, unless I draw thee, nobody comes. You think you did it. So don't ever get this position where just because you're making better decisions than you did last week, then now all of a sudden now you can go on to criticize it and do like my elders say, become a verifier. All of a sudden now you're the verifier. You come in, hey listen man, is that got pork in it? Whoa, what's that? So you eating that shrimp? No, just continue to walk in love. Continue to be light and salt. Continue to stand the truth and live the truth. Because don't spend all your day talking truth if you ain't going to live it. Verse 3.
But if any man love God, the same is known of him.
But see, if you love God, then that is known of you. And see, don't be known by what you know. Right? Matter of fact, let's go to a precept on that. This is all base. Let's go to a precept on that. Let's go to Jeremiah 9. Let's get a precept on that. I think it's vital that we get precepts on these things. So we understand. The Bible tells us in Isaiah 28, precept upon precept, line upon line. This is how we get an understanding. So let's give a precept so they can get that. And we'll go right back to the lesson. Jeremiah 9. And let's look at verses 23 through 24. Jeremiah 9, 23 through 24. This is a precept for 1 Corinthians 8, 1 through 3. 23 through 24.
Thus saith the Lord, let not the wise man glory in his own wisdom, neither let the mighty man glory in his own might. Let not the rich man glory in his riches. Okay, so see, the Most High, what is Most High using Jeremiah here? He says, let not the wise man glory in his wisdom, right?
So don't get caught up in the wisdom that the Most High is giving you. Don't get caught up in the knowledge that you have attained. Don't glory in that. Then he says, don't let the strong man, the man that's out there, you know what I'm saying, that's mighty, is strong. You're going out there, and this is another thing too, and let me address this, right? You got all these guys out here, they're spending hours and hours in the gym, and they're getting this stuff down packed, they're strong and mighty, and that's all the time they're just sitting around with the t-shirts off and it's taking pics, and every time you go work out, you got to go live. He said, no, don't glory in your might. Right? And then you got the guys that got some money right now. They walk around and they got their cars and they got to drive 2 miles an hour so everybody sees you. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? The old joke that we say, you go into the store, instead of pulling out your bank card, you pull out this stack just to buy you a pack of 9-11. You know what I'm saying? All that. Don't glory in your riches, okay? Don't think that your money is going to do it. Don't think that your strength is going to do it. Don't think that your wisdom is going to do it. He said, don't glory in that. Verse 24. He says, what though?
But let him that glory in this, that he understandeth and knoweth me, that I am the Lord which exercise love and kindness, judgment and righteousness in the earth. For in these things I delight, saith the Lord.
For in these things. That's what you need to delight in. That's what you need to glory in. That you have an understanding of the Most High. That the Holy Spirit has brought you out of your life. That the blood of the Lamb has cleansed you and given you right into the place that you can have a relationship with the Most High. Not only that, but now that you're getting the understanding that the awakening is coming, now that you understand, no, I'm not African American. No, I'm not a black guy. I'm an Israelite. Right? Don't glory in just that. Glory in the fact that Christ didn't leave you in our stumbling. Didn't leave us in our blind state. That's what you glory in. Because when you do that, instead of glorifying yourself, the glory goes back to the Most High. Because He's the one who woke us up. He's the one who saved us. So go back to 1 Corinthians 3, verse 8, and get him verse 3 again. And taking what you just seen in Jeremiah 9, and then look at it now. Now look at this again in verse 3, in 1 Corinthians 8. No, actually give him 2 and 3.
And if any man think that he knoweth anything, he knoweth nothing, and yet he ought to know. But if any man love God, then the same is known of him.
That's what's known. And that's what we need to be known. And I'm talking specifically to my preachers out here, to my prophets, to my apostles, to my bishops, to my teachers, to my evangelists. Don't let it be known that you have this wisdom and all of these things. Let it be known that you're a man. Let it be known, let it be said that the first thing that they say about you, yo, that's a man of God. That's a woman of God. Let that be known. Versus saying, yo, man, you're Israelite. Everybody know you're Israelite. Okay? Everybody knows that you go to church. But let it be known that you're a woman or a man of God. So if that's what they know, then you don't get the glory. The Most High will get the glory. All right? So if you just joined us today, today's lesson is entitled Knowledge versus Truth. Knowledge versus truth. Let's go to Proverbs 1. Proverbs, the first chapter, and we're going to look at verse 7.